Praise the Lord. The preacher and me coming out again. You have now entered into the Monte Cristo Dog Show. Coming up.
Welcome to the Monte Cristo Dog Show, where we will talk about classic movies, TV shows, and other interesting things. So relax and enjoy the Monte Cristo Dog Show.
Alrighty. This is your friend and host, Monte Cristo Dog, Caleb Monte Cristo Dog. Today we are going to look at the life of Leo Gorcey. Leo Gorcey is an interesting figure. He's part of the Dead End Kids. We were talking about Billy Halep. Billy Halep, I liked him because he was the leader of the Dead End Kids, and he held his own, and we really looked at his life and his background, and I tell you, they did a lot of good movies along with Leo Gorcey. And Leo Gorcey had different names, like we were talking about. He had one. He was Slip. He was known as Slip, Spit, and Muggsy. So these are things that he was known for, and I tell you, it was really a good insight that we had yesterday about Leo Gorcey, the transition that he had from Dead End to East Side Kids. And now we're going to look at his transition into the Bowery Boys. And growing up in New York, I always used to look forward to seeing the Bowery Boys at Channel 5 WNEW on Sunday afternoon. I felt that my Sundays weren't complete unless I had a dose of Bowery Boy comedy. And the gang had two main personalities that made the show. Leo Gorcey was known as Slip Mahoney. He was the leader of the gang and wore his hat sideways. Hunts Hall was the dumbbell of the group. He wore a baseball cap and got into all kinds of trouble. If you were to do a search of Bowery Boys DVDs, chances are that you will see some East Side Kids as well as Dead End Kids. Why? Because it's simply because Leo Gorcey and Hunts Hall starred in some of these movies as well. These movies date back to 1938 through the late 40s and the early 50s. They changed the group name from East Side Kids to the Bowery Boys. In fact, it started, I think, in 1948, if I'm not mistaken. And I think that Bobby Jordan starred with them for a while. And we're going to see a couple things here about Leo Gorcey. First of all, like we had said yesterday, he was born in June 3rd, 1917 in New York City. In 1935, he appeared in the stage play of Dead End with his brother David Gorcey. When Dead End came to the big screen, it had the likes of Humphrey Bogart and Joel McCrea, along with Sylvia Sidney. Although Bogart was beginning to make a name for himself, it was Sidney who got the first billing of the cast. This was a big break for Gorcey because Dead End became a runaway hit. The Dead End Kids started to become an item in America, starring Billy Halep as his gang leader. Together they made successful movies like Angels with Dirty Faces and Crime School. The story always centered on a bunch of youth who were going wayward. And like I said, afterwards we started to see a transition, how the Dead End Kids transformed themselves into the East Side Kids. And the rest is history. Now, Billy Halep continued to do some movies such as The Gas House Kids and other lesser-known film features. Eventually, he had some role on TV and even starred in the Andy Griffith Show. His last TV feature was All in the Family as Munson. Leo Gorcey went to star in the Bowery Boys until 1956. His father, Bernard Gorcey, who used to star as Louis, who owned the ice cream parlor. They got together. They were funny with Satch, Hunts Hall, and Louis used to have a fit with their antics, and they always try to outsmart Louis. A classic checkout is Blues Busters. If you ever seen that movie, it has laughs galore, and it starred with Phyllis Coates. She's if you're a Superman fan, you remember Phyllis Coates, George Reeves back in the 50s. And Phyllis Coates, in my opinion, was the best Lois Lane. She had a classic scream and the screen. And I think that she really held her own in Blues Buster. And in this scene, she plays the role of Sally Dorland, who was Slip's girlfriend in the movie. And she was a blonde. She looked very attractive and added to the episode. She also has a dance scene in which she shines. Many people do not know that Phyllis Coates was a blonde and dyed her hair for the Superman series. She went on to star in the Untouchable and Perry Mason episodes. In Blues Buster, Satch Hunts Hall has a throat operation. This enabled him to sing as a crooner, and the boys decide to make a quick buck out of him. And this has many funny moments. I think it's either a throat or a dental operation. I'm not too sure, okay? Don't quote me on that. And this has many funny moments, and it's a classic. And another one of my favorite was Crashing Las Vegas. Satch has the power to guess the lucky numbers. Slip and Satch go to Las Vegas to try to make a fortune. And this was, unfortunately, Leo Gorcey's last role as Slip in the series. What had happened was that Louis, the guy that did Louis, Bernard Gorcey, died in a terrible car accident, and Slip wasn't the same, or should I say Leo Gorcey, and they say that he had a problem with alcohol, and this was his last time that he starred with the Bowery Boys, and it was a great loss because Gorcey and Satch Hunts Hall had a chemistry a second to none. They were real funny, and when Leo Gorcey left, he was replaced by Stanley Clements, who starred as Duke. They had some good episodes, and I think that what saved what kept the Bowery Boys going was the comedy of Hunts Hall, because he stood out in the comedy. But Stanley Clements, even though he did his best, was not as good as Leo Gorcey, and it went downhill. I think their last show was filmed either in 58 or 59. But in the 60s, there was talk about having them as a cartoon series, but it was not to be. I would have loved to have seen the Bowery Boys in cartoon series. But having said that, they did appear as the Dead End Kids in a comic book format. People don't know about it. They appeared in a comic book format. Gorcey and Hall did get together for the movie called The Phoenix, I believe it's called. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. It's Phynx, The Phoenix, which will be their last role, as a team. Sad to say, all of the Bowery Boys have passed on. Notwithstanding, their memory will always be in our mind and hearts. And I have an article here which I'm going to post on the classic movie nostalgia in my Facebook page. I'm going to post an article that I wrote years ago in Hub Pages when I used to do a lot of writing in Hub Pages. It's called Anyone Remembers the Bowery Boys. And I think you're going to like what I have to offer here, some insights. And we have a trailer on the Blues Buster that I think is going to be fun. He's going to bring back a lot of memories. But this is it concerning Leo Gorcey. Tomorrow, I'm thinking of doing either Hunts Hall or Bobby Jordan. We're going to do a little bit of a background check into those guys. And let me tell you, these guys were really unique. I really liked the Bowery Boys. Like I said, I used to look, my Sunday as a kid growing up in New York was not complete without seeing the Bowery Boys or the Dead End Kids. So they really held their own. And I think that the comedy I like again was the chemistry between Slip and Satch. They had some funny movies, some funny things. And I think one of my other favorites that I like is Dig That Uranium. Oh my goodness, that was funny. So they had some funny moments, and they were not of the caliber of Abbott and Costello or the Three Stooges, but I believe they held their own, and I think they had a following, and they still have a good following. So people talk to me. I know that maybe you're not hearing this live broadcast because of your jobs or what have you, but maybe if you get a chance to hear hear this, talk to me, give me, post some insights on classic movie nostalgia on my Facebook page. I like to see what kind of things you have about Leo Gorcey that we need to know. I know that there's a commercial. There was a car commercial that he starred in, and I'm going to put it on the Facebook page. And it's a car commercial. So Leo Gorcey, he held his own through the 60s. Unfortunately, he died at 1969, and I was a fan of the Bowery Boys. And when I heard that he died, I really was saddened by his death. And I was about 13, 14-year-old kid, and when he died, I really. It really was a sad moment for me because I really thought he was a good actor. And he died at a very young age. I think he was in his 50s when he died. But notwithstanding, he left a legacy in the movie industry. And he held his own. And I think that, I don't know if he has a star in Hollywood, but I think him and the Dead End Kids, they deserve a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. But anyway, this is just my tidbits about Gorcey and Hunt and Halep. Tomorrow, I don't know who I'm gonna talk about. It might be Hunts Hall or Bobby Jordan. And Bowery Boys fans, I want to hear from you. So post whatever you want to post on classic movies. It doesn't have to be about Leo Gorcey. It could be about the Bowery Boys. So I look forward to hearing from you from in my classic movies nostalgia. If you're listening to me in YouTube or Twitter, just go to my classic movies nostalgia. I have a lot of things here about Gorcey. I have other things about a movie they made here, the Dead End Kids. They Made Me a Criminal. And here's another thing here on Halep and Cagney, Angels with Dirty Faces. And we even have a Western here, The Rifleman, for those who like Western. So visit us on our Facebook page, Classic Movie Nostalgia. And this is Monte Cristo Dog. I'm about ready to sign off and hope that you have a wonderful day. So bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
We hope that you have enjoyed our show. Tune in tomorrow at 12 noon for another episode of the Monte Cristo Dog Show.